Ismail, samo kaži mi koga da počnem. Hello? Dear young people, dear excellencies, dear guests, welcome to the Youth Forum, Grassroots Youth Voices for bringing the region closer together. The Youth Forum is part of the Prespa Forum dialogue created by the government of Republic of North Macedonia. And my name is Anelia Mitrova. I am part of the team of Youth Alliance, a co-organizer of this event. In the last few years, historic political decisions have been made in our country. Decisions equally important for the country and the region itself. They terminate with agreements of friendship and cooperation, and for enhancement of good neighborly relations, directly affecting on the youth cooperation. The COVID-19 pandemic has fundamentally changed the region and strongly highlighted the existing challenges that we, the young people, are facing. And this has also infected and halted and slowed down the regional cooperation processes. However, I strongly believe that this crisis will stimulate reinvention of the current developments of the processes by establishing a common approach and mechanisms in solving the key challenges of the youth. Despite all political misunderstandings and disputes in the past, only joint actions based on solidarity and cooperation among the young people and the decision makers could contribute towards building a sustainable and connected region. The crisis is an opportunity for us, the young people, not only to show a positive attitude towards the integration processes, but also to play an active role in making decisions about our own future. Hence, we, the young people, urge a space for dialogue, to dialogue with the decision makers for all challenges that we are facing. Since in the region we are facing a lot of challenges: the rule of law, low quality of life, high youth unemployment, human rights violations, educational system issues, distrust of the institutions, and these are just a series of many issues that we are facing for. Therefore, the youth panel aims to raise the political will and to open the dialogue between the decision makers and the young people. We jointly to create solutions for our future, solutions that will be youth-tailored. So now I would like to invite on the stage Mr. Zoran Popov, State Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of North Macedonia. So Mr. Popov, welcome.
Good morning to all. Youth Forum, organized under the auspices of Prime Minister Zaev and Ministry of Foreign Affairs, supported and co-organized by Youth Alliance Kruševo and GIZ. I applaud to all of you who have worked so hard to deliver to this forum, and those of you who have traveled across the region and EU to be here. And what better place to be than Prespa? Beautifully calm, peaceful lake shared by three countries, North Macedonia, Albania and Greece, giving a sense of blissful serenity. It is also a place where the historic Prespa Agreement was signed in June 2018, resolving the long-running name dispute between Skopje and Athens, being a potent symbol for courage and hope, defying historical determinism in the Balkans and favoring values of compromise and cooperation to bring peace and progress in the region and in Europe. The energy and the optimism of youth raises our ambition for what we can achieve together and gives us confidence that we can shape the future. In the fast-moving and closely connected digitalized world of today, the contribution of young people to national development and the values of our societies as well as the development of our European region, is of pivotal importance. Young people from the region should get closer, get to know each other better in order to understand differences but also similarities that exist among their peers in the Balkans. I'm quite confident that we have much more in common than compared to differences. Encounters and open discussions are needed more than ever for ensuring inclusive and tolerant societies, thus creating a joint future for the young people in the region. Just a few days ago, the latest RCC Balkan Barometer 2021 has been presented, and I would like to share a few highlights with you. When asked what is the biggest problem that young people face today, 62% quote insufficient employment opportunities, which means lack of job offers, support mechanisms, programs to secure a job, lack of support to open businesses. Low quality education comes at the second place, together with low level of involvement of young people in the decision-making processes. On the other hand, 77% of young people in the region believe that regional cooperation positively contributes to the political, economic and security developments of their home countries. One of the most pressing issues is youth immigration. With the highest immigration rates in Europe, our region faces a range of economic and social consequences due to the massive brain drain and young people leaving to find a better life abroad. In average, 32% of Western Balkan citizens are considering leaving the country and working abroad. Today, more or less, Western Balkans counts for around 18 million people, which would say 6 million people are considering to leave the 6 countries and working abroad. 32%, out of those 32%, 90% is a group age between 24 and 35 years old. In case of North Macedonia, the percentage rates at 27, which means another 500 to 600,000 young people considering to leave the country. We have already left 600,000 according to the World Bank data and United Nations in the last 10 years. This is a luxury, we cannot afford it. The numbers for Albania and Montenegro are more stunning. 46% of Montenegrin citizens are considering to leave the country. 45% in Albania. An overwhelming majority of respondents, again, who consider leaving the region is between 24 and 35. The most important challenge for us is to turn this brain drain into the opportunity to keep our young people at home. EU integration process provides the best possible tool to bring European policies and actions at home, with aim at empowering young people from investments to digitalization, to quality education and to skills development. Young people need new opportunities in our region. This means structural reforms, a sound business climate, public governance, including bold respect of the rule of law. There is an urgent need to start the long overdue accession talks with North Macedonia so that young people are encouraged and motivated and that they can be actively involved in creating their own future in the region and in Europe. At a personal note, majority of young people closely associate EU membership with freedom to travel, economic development, freedom to study and work in the European Union. 62% in average of Western Balkan citizens believe that EU membership would be a good thing. However, there is a significant rise in those who think that it will never happen, 23%. There is also a significant drop in few countries, including North Macedonia. I am sure that there will be numerous encounters these 2 days that will lead to valuable new links and discoveries of common interest, resulting in ideas and partnerships that may not have been thought of when you come here. Our strong determination is this youth forum to be established on a regular and permanent basis as a central activity for young people from our region, but also from the EU, to engage in dialogue and together identify common points for action. Youth organizations and other European and regional international organizations, like Regional Cooperation Council, Regional Youth Cooperation Office, RICO, and Franco-German Youth Office, that promote reconciliation and cooperation. Allow me to say also a few words on the way forward. If this event, where is Meto, Director of Youth Alliance, if this event is meant to be a one-off conference this year, it would mean that we failed. If we manage to organize a structured, continuous, well-designed dialogue throughout the whole year, with bold events gathering young people, first from North Macedonia and Greece, later this year, hopefully, from North Macedonia and Bulgaria, later on from Serbia and Kosovo, from Bosnia and Serbia, I think that we would be on a good track. More gathering, more talking to each other, more student exchange, more business opportunities, more joint startups. Nikos Kotsias, the former foreign minister of Greece and co-signatory of the Prespa agreement, like always to say, history is a prison, should be a teacher, not a prison. So let us do our best to bring European, Euro-Atlantic values at home. Let us work together. Let us have all Western Balkans, 6 young people here, together with the support of the EU member states. And let us create policies which will be mirrored, implemented by national governments in the region. Thank you. On this road, on this way, you can always count on our support, on the government, on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Popov. Organizing the youth event together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was one step forward towards the cooperation among the decision makers and the young people, so I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Now I would like to invite on the stage my dear colleague Metodia Stojčevski, and also coordinator of the Greece-North Macedonia, a process for establishment of Greece-North Macedonia Youth Cooperation Offices.
Thank you, Anelia. Thank you, Zaki. Honorable members of the government of North Macedonia, honorable excellencies, I would like to welcome you on this youth panel of Prespa Forum for Dialogue. After 22 years working on the regional cooperation and communication with the young people, for us and for our organization to be partners of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs and to be co-organizers of this event, it is a great recognition of our past work. Since 2003, we organized one huge international conference, traditional, in Kruševo, bringing together 55 young people every year, talking about European values, not about European Union as a political or economical structure, but talking about European values and how to bring closer to the young people from the Western Balkan countries, European values on which is based idea for European integration. And here are present participants and members of the alumni network of our conference. I am really glad that you are now here with us on this event. Also, our organization is initiator and lead organization in the processes for creation of the bilateral youth cooperation offices between North Macedonia and Greece. Why? Because we believe in the cooperation of our two countries. We cannot, everything is not a question of the politics. It is a question of the geography. We cannot move our countries, let's say, in some other region in Europe and to choose our neighbors. We are here next to each other and we should cooperate. If we should cooperate, do it on the best way which we can. And without stable surrounding, each country cannot be prosperative and cannot be stable. It is or is not a EU member state. Because of that, our activities are with a regional approach, and we want to create one new picture for our region, which was recognized by bad things in the past. For the end, I will finish with one quote by President Franklin Roosevelt. We cannot always build a better society for our young people, but we can prepare our young people for the better future. Thank you.
Now I have the pleasure to invite on the stage Ms. Mila Tsarovska, Minister of Education and Science of Republic of North Macedonia.
Dear young people from the country and from the region, dear Ambassador Burns, dear Ambassador Geer, dear colleague from Albania, Minister of Education, dear Deputy Minister for Culture from Kosovo, dear guests, welcome in Prespa, welcome in our country, and welcome at Prespa Forum Dialogue. Now I will continue on my mother tongue, Macedonian language. Почитувани соговорници и учесници на денешниот младенски форум, организиран во рамки на платформата Преспа форум за диалог. Почитувани амбасадори, почитувани колеги, министри од другите држави во регионот, почитувани пратеници, почитуван градоначалник. Дами и господа, чест ми е што Северна Македонија е домаќин на еден ваков настан од поголеми размери, кој има за цел градење на силен регион преку јакнење на соработката меѓу државите низ повеќе сегменти, вклучително и преку поврзување на младите, што значи создавање на синергија која само ќе го забрза процесот кој води кон исполнување на јасно поставена заедничка цел, а тоа е интегрирање на Западен Балкан во европското семејство. Како влада која предводи државата во изминатите 4 години, покажавме дека можеме да решиме големи и децениски предизвици. Можеме да го сплотиме регионот, да затвориме крупни прашања, преку градење на пријателства и да иницираме заедничка моќ со која земјите во развој ќе му конкурираат на развиениот свет. Така што, немам сомнеш дека ќе го постигнеме и очекуваниот ефект од организацијата на Преспа форум за диалог. А дополнителна верба за тоа ми дава и подадената рака од сите вас кои прифативте да бидете дел од оваа иницијатива. Денешната тема се младите и нивната моќ да придвижуваат општества, региони и да даваат придонес кон развојот на светот воопшто. Кога зборуваме за нив, за младите, всушност зборуваме за најважниот ресурс со кој една држава располага, така и нашата. Клучен збор без кој не може да говорите за иднината се младите. Затоа и државите кои што вложуваат во младите, од сите можни аспекти, не треба да се грижат за сигурноста во годините кои што доаѓаат, за националниот просперитет и севкупниот државен развој. Владата предводена од премиерот Заев целосно верува во потенцијалот на младите. Тие го отворија патот кон ЕУ и токму поради тоа се трудиме да обезбедиме добри образовни можности за нив. Го јакнеме ученичкиот и студентскиот стандард. Континуирано обезбедуваме нови можности за наука и истражувања. Финансиска поддршка за реализација на нивните иновативни идеи, отвараме интересни и добро платени работни места и го стимулираме нивниот труд, затоа што тој е најважен. Особено ќе истакнам дека во изминатите неколку години младите ги интегриравме во креирање на сите политики кои ги засегаат нив. Едноставно, знаењето за нив е кај нив, исто како и креативноста, иновативноста и енергијата. Исто така и упорноста и истрајноста се одлика на младите. Затоа и се дел од раководствата на речиси сите институции во системот и се предводници на промените кои што се случуваат и ќе се случуваат во периодот пред нас. Ценам дека новите генерации ќе бидат уште повеќе подготвени да ги штитат интересите на државата и да се грижат и придонесуваат за незиниот напредок. Затоа што токму во моментов преку крупни промени кои што ги градиме во образовниот систем, кој ќе одговара на нивните потреби и ќе ги спрема и опремува со вештини и знаења со кои ќе може да се справат со предизвиците на новото време кое што ги очекува. Една од вредностите на кои ги учиме, а која особено доаѓа до израз во последните неколку години, кога постигнуваме значајни успеси на домашен и меѓународен план, е дека само преку нивното единство во границите на својата земја, но и преку активизам, градење на пријателства и партнерства со младите од соседството, од регионот и од светот воопшто, може да ги постигнат личните цели и постојано да поставуваат уште повисоки, а со тоа и да помогнат на државата да оди напред. Ова, но и сите други современи човечки вредности и димензии се втемелени во карактерите на младите луѓе на Северна Македонија. И верувајте, нема млад човек од тука кој не сака да гради добри односи и да шири пријателство, да разменува искуства со врсниците и воопшто со луѓето од надвор од нашата земја. Јас ова веќе го знам. После повеќе години работа со младите во нашата земја, периодот во кој имав и има можност да следам промени во начинот на нивното однесување и во воопшто нашето општество. Тие стануваат се поотворени, сакаат да помогнат, да учат нешто ново, но и да споделуваат свое знаење. Младите знаат дека така побрзо се напредува преку личен активизам и преку ширење на контакти и комуникација со своите врсници. Затоа ние возрастните треба да им помогнеме преку организирање на вакви форуми и различни типови на платформи и канали за комуникација и алатки кои што треба да ги ставиме на располагање за тие побрзо и почесто да се комуницираат и контактираат, да се конектираат помеѓу себе. Така ќе придонесеме побрзо да созрееме сите и тие и да станеме достојни и тие да станат достојни да ги превземат улогите кои што ние сега ги извршуваме и да ги постават уште повисоко резултатите кои што ние ги постигнавме. А сега ви благодарам за вниманието и посакувам денес на вистина успешен диалог и соработка понатаму. Благодарам.
Thank you, Ms. Sarovska. Now I have the honor to invite on the stage Ms. Kate Mary Burns, Ambassador to U.S. In the Republic of North Macedonia. Madam Ambassador, please, the floor is yours.
Dear Minister Sarovska, State Secretary Popov, Minister Kushi, Deputy Minister Osmani, Your Excellency Ambassador Gear, distinguished political leaders, and most of all, distinguished young people and guests here today. Good morning. It is such a pleasure to join you for this discussion about how youth can help create a better region for the future. This is clearly a time of challenges, and challenges which, like the pandemic, climate change, economic competition, don't recognize any kind of borders. But it's also a time of opportunities, as many have said, and opportunities that aren't limited by borders, whether that's innovation, technology, and communications. But the truth is, we're not going to be able to confront these challenges or seize these opportunities if we act alone. So now more than ever is the time for us to work together and act together collaboratively. How do we achieve these aspirations for a better future? Well, we do it by building bridges across age-old divides. We do it by connecting with one another, as many of you were already doing this morning and will throughout the day today. We do it by finding ways in which we can expand opportunities for regional cooperation. And we do it by finding ways that all of you can take charge of your future to help us all overcome the challenges that we faced here in the Western Balkan regions, but as your international partners as well. The United States' priorities for the Western Balkans are clear, and they have not changed. We continue to see the region's future at peace and integrated with itself, with its neighbors, stable, prosperous, and fully integrated into the Euro-Atlantic framework. Our vision for the future of the Western Balkans is as a vital part of the European Union, which will not only benefit the Balkans, but will also make Europe more stable and stronger. There should be no doubt that North Macedonia has done the work necessary to launch accession talks, a move that would further increase regional stability and advance political and economic connectivity with Europe and with the transatlantic partnership more broadly. Your future is in an integrated Europe, and no one should question that. We remain focused on achieving that goal, on seeing the negotiating framework adopted as soon as possible so that you can take your next steps on your EU path, while also ensuring that you're fully prepared to take on the responsibilities that come with EU membership. It's fair to say that the accession and the integration process will take time. It will require patience as well as persistence. Now, many of you all have been asked to demonstrate more of that than other aspirants. But it also means that once negotiations do begin, you will be well prepared, and hopefully you'll have a head start on meeting the necessary qualifications. For all countries, especially those like yours with such potential for growth, economic prosperity, increasing economic prosperity, and more importantly, strengthening democratic institutions and the rule of law are fundamental. To assist you all on this journey, and particularly here in North Macedonia, we are championing all of you. Our embassy team recognizes that youth are integral to achieving this country's goals of becoming a resilient, stable, and prosperous multi-ethnic company that embraces democratic governance and the rule of law. We also recognize that youth have an active and vital role in the country's ability to withstand malign influence, to build strong institutions, to think critically. So it's important that you invest your skills, your energy, and your know-how to improve society, and most specifically, the communities that you call home, where you come from, where you feel you belong to. We look to you to tell the government, all of the governments in the region, how to best address the issues that face you today, the migratory trends, the brain drain. We need your vision because you all can see the future more clearly than we can see it. You're not burdened with differences of the past, but are looking with hope toward the future. We look at you because you can contribute to the stability, progress, and cohesiveness of the region and make it even more peaceful and help it keep moving forward on its European path. I am convinced that through forums such as this and discussions that remain ongoing, you all, as creative young adults, will come up with ways and define the roles that you can play in implementing agreements that have been recently made not only to resolve bilateral and regional differences, but to advance regional cooperation in new and innovative ways. Be proactive, be inventive, be collaborative, be part of those solutions so that those opportunities are created by you and for you, because you are the generation that will build the partnerships for the future. I want to end with a quote from President Biden, who said that we have to build the shared future that we seek. And you all are going to be part of that today. So I wish you a very productive forum with great constructive discussions and hopefully new ideas that can inspire us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. I would like also to thank for your unconditional trust and support to the young people in North Macedonia. Now I have the honor to invite His Excellency Mr. David Gear, Ambassador of EU to North Macedonia. Please.
Good morning, Deputy Minister Tsarovska, Deputy Minister Kushi, Osmani, Excellency Ambassador Burns, ladies and gentlemen, above all, young people, it's a great pleasure to be here in the Prespa region, a place that is already synonymous with overcoming disputes, fostering cooperation, and promoting EU values. And a place that, hopefully, through this forum, will also become synonymous with a continuous, constructive and inspiring debate on how to address the many challenges that we face together here in the Western Balkans and in the European Union. And young people must be part of this debate and even take the lead on issues of immediate concern in education, in the area of employment. They should also speak equally on how to have a voice in society, how to ensure that institutions guarantee human rights and an environment that is healthy. We all know the saying that the future belongs to the youth, and we all know that no plan or policy will produce results without support from the younger generations. Young people in the Western Balkans share almost the same concerns, probably the same concerns, and certainly the same hopes for a better future as young people in the European Union. And I've had the honor and the pleasure to witness this firsthand through the many debates that we have conducted at the EU delegation with young people across the country and also across the Western Balkans. And I can confirm that, first of all, young people have many ideas. They know what the issues are. They have many proposals for ways to go forward. They're engaged. They're critical, but optimistic. And they're demanding of change. And I would say to you, please stay exactly that. Engaged, critical, optimistic, demanding of change, and above all, being part of a generation which will bring about change for the countries of the region, but also as future citizens of the European Union. For the European Union, young people are a priority, of course. Young people are our future. They will help to spread the values that we've discussed, the EU values, universal values. They will help to embrace innovation and green ways of development in achieving some of the strategic goals that we have, including in the areas of digitalization and green agenda. And really, if we want to see the development of dynamic societies, we need young people who can bring their creativity and innovation and imagination and verve to that discussion, because only through them we'll be able to assure this. And this is why the European Union is supporting many regional initiatives concerning youth. Obviously, one of the most important is the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, which helps in the exchange of ideas and cooperation between young people. And there's also the Western Balkans Youth Lab, which brings together representatives of national youth councils and the recently launched school exchange scheme. There is the We Balkans community, which is part of the European Union's communication programme for the region, which supports funding opportunities, jobs, internships, and training courses for young people in the Western Balkans. And we also have our group of young European ambassadors who lead by example and energy in promoting EU values in the region. In addition, the European Union has been investing for over 20 years in the region to support the development of education systems. And the delegation here in North Macedonia is implementing a €15 million programme, EU for Youth, which is aiming at improving employment for young women and men by rolling out a youth guarantee scheme and investing in vocational education and training. And finally, perhaps my favorite of all, of course, is the Erasmus Plus program, which continues to offer, and now more than ever, with increased resources, opportunities to students, teachers, apprentices and enterprises to study, work and have internships and exchanges across Europe, enriching the Western Balkans, but also enriching the European Union by doing this. And we are not stopping here. We're also discussing with the authorities in the region how to help economic growth of some of the least developed parts of the countries so that young people stay and prosper where their roots and communities are. And as State Secretary Popov has already pointed out, the great difficulties and the loss that comes to a country and to individual communities, both at an economic level but also at a very personal level among families by the mass departure of young people who are often the brightest and the best and have the best prospects for the future. All of these activities are complementary to a series of revolutions which are going on and which we need young people to lead on. There is, of course, the green revolution, which is going to transform our lives, transform how we do our economies, transform our day-to-day activities. There is connectivity, the efforts to ensure greater connectivity across the region with the European Union. And, of course, there is the digital agenda for the Western Balkans. And I think the experience of the pandemic in the last 15 months has just proven once again how important this last agenda is. I'd also like to take the opportunity today to recall that from today, people, including young people, are roaming free. So young people need only to stay charged in order to benefit from the fruits of this novelty. And I hope that this effort, this event will symbolically mark the start of even greater efforts to ensure synergy at the regional level on the road to the European Union, to the benefit of every single European here in the Western Balkans and in the European Union. I would just lastly like to end with, I think, a note to young people. You are the future. You are the future citizens of the European Union. We rely upon you to stay engaged, to stay critical, and to promote the reforms that are the fastest path to the European Union, but which are also in the interests of everyone here. So I stay very optimistic. We need to continue to engage in order to overcome the current difficulties, and then the real work needs to begin now and continue now of carrying out the reforms which will change your lives and our lives together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now I would like to invite on the stage Ms. Evis Kushi, Minister for Education, Sport and Youth of Albania.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable ministers, ambassadors, dear colleagues, guests, dear young people, I'm pleased to participate in this international conference and to represent the Ministry of Education, Sports and Youth of Albania. I warmly thank you for this invitation and the organization of this youth forum. While looking at this conference agenda, one of the suggested topics that attracted my full attention was, should I stay or should I go? How to address the regional youth migratory trends and the rising brain drain. I think this is one of the main problems we all face right now in our countries. And therefore, we can use this opportunity, this meeting, to share our views, our experiences, in order to find the best and sustainable solutions. Youth is absolutely a priority in Albania, and we make big efforts to support them by providing new projects and new opportunities. Firstly, in 2019, we drafted and approved the first law on youth, which guarantees the rights of young people and promotes the active participation of young people in society. In the framework of the implementation of this law, for the first time, it has been established the National Youth Agency, which finances and supports initiatives and projects on young people or youth organizations. Secondly, we have analyzed the reasons of young people migration in Albania, such as education and employment. Regarding the education, we have identified an increased demand for higher quality levels in education system. We have an increased number of young people, especially the best ones, who choose to leave the country and seek for better opportunities abroad. Therefore, we are working very hard right now to improve the quality of higher education system. And one of the mechanisms we are adopting is the Europeanization of our universities through close cooperation with the most prestigious universities in Europe, joint programs, double degrees, etc. So we can offer in Albania good quality options to our best students and to all students, of course. Regarding employment, our policies are focused on offering more employment opportunities for young people in public administration institutions. In this framework, we have approved and implemented 2 programs: Employment of Excellent Students and Internship Program. All excellent students graduated with a certain academic performance are given the opportunity to be employed in the public administration, despite the lack of work experience. While the internship program gives the opportunity to all young people who have just completed their studies to gain work experience in both public and private institutions. The program firstly offers a 3-month work contract, and after this experience, the best students are given even 1 year, 12 months work contract or permanent contract. Thirdly, we have started working on the first national strategy on youth for the first time in Albania, in order to create a vision and to provide specific and long-term objectives in youth policy-making process. It is important to emphasize the fact that we are working in several areas in Albania in order to address brain drain of young people, to keep young people home. So, besides the difficulties faced because of COVID-19 pandemic, Erasmus Plus office in Albania has continued to promote the program to all higher education institutions, to inform students and academic or administrative staff on how to apply on Erasmus Plus projects and to assess projects to be submitted in the framework of capacity building of higher education. In addition, as the European Youth City, Tirana is planning an ambitious program which will aim to address the needs of young people, supporting non-formal education and trying to connect the city and its youth with European values, the best European values. These activities will also serve as relevant strategies to attract more visitors to the planned events. Finally, I need to say that it is our responsibility to fulfill every obligation we have toward young people, students, and society itself. We are really optimistic that our efforts and hard work in the fields of education, research, innovation, and culture will direct us toward the finalization of the common European dream. And in order to achieve this, I think that the cooperation between Southeast Europe countries needs to be further strengthened, transforming this way the region into an area of stability and cooperation, and promoting good relations with neighbor countries regarding the Euro-Atlantic integration of the Southeast European economies. I'd like to conclude by thanking once again the honorable ministers participating in the conference and everyone else who helped in organizing this conference. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Kushi. Now it's my honor to invite on the stage Ms. Daulina Osmani, Deputy Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport of Kosovo.
Thank you. Dear ministers, dear ambassadors, dear representatives of governments, distinguished guests, participants, and most importantly, dear youth. On behalf of the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports of the Republic of Kosovo, allow me to express my deepest gratitude and pleasure to be part of this forum. At the same time, I want to thank the Republic of North Macedonia for bringing all of us here today together. We know that many important issues will be discussed today and tomorrow between government representatives and other high-level stakeholders of Balkans. But perhaps most importantly will be our discussion here today talking about youth. As a representative of government of Kosovo, I should say that young people make the largest portion of our population, and we see youth as our country's greatest asset for the development. We know that every generation of young people faces its unique issues. And for this generation of young people in Kosovo and the region, the most important is to be the drivers of the change. New chapters of peace, development and democracy are around the corner, and the decisions that we make today should reflect the dreams and aspirations of young people tomorrow. What is important, I must say, when it comes to the youth voice, is diversity and is inclusivity. We know that there are mechanisms in place, organizations and programs that provide the space for young people to share their views when it comes to recent situations and collaboration. Our main goal should be that new faces with unique backgrounds who perhaps lives in the most remote and isolated areas of our countries to become part of these mechanisms as well. We must address all barriers, whether it is language, financial, or geographical barriers, to ensure that everyone, each and every person who's part of youth, can be part of these processes. Because when it comes to regional cooperation and development, there are so many viewpoints that must be considered equally. Ultimately, it should be young people, those who decide for themselves on how they should collaborate, on what topics they agree or they want to disagree, and then our role as government is to represent and turn these ideas into policy. Youth should be trusted to guide our policy making and to help us understand and address regional challenges. It's our duty to build platforms where youth can be expressed, and it's our duty to ensure that they are being heard. All attempts to improve the well-being of young people should aim to give them the chance to be actively involved. Besides opportunities for mobility, People need opportunities to simply discuss with one another, share experiences, and amplify their voice to policymakers. So if not physically, I would encourage more meetings online so that young people can constantly share ideas and update each other on how they are mobilizing to be active and to be heard. This way, they can learn from each other, and I think that this way we as countries can learn for each other more. Success for regional cooperation would be for opportunities to open to all young people, no matter where they come from, because each country of the Balkan region has something unique to offer. We are all looking to Europe as our future, but we cannot make progress without each other. And when it comes to youth, there are many areas of cooperation, from higher education to digital skills and sustainable environment. For all of these and other important matters, it's important that we bring youth together, closer to the policymakers within each country and to each other across the border. This way, as young people, they can learn and be continuously part of their challenges and help and contribute in their solutions. While expressing our highest consideration for this event, we look forward to an intensified and enriched cooperation between our countries and our youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Osmani. Now I would like to invite on the stage Mr. Arve Radimi, Member of the Parliament of Republic of North Macedonia.
Dear Madam Minister Tsarovska, Minister Kushi, Deputy Minister Osmani, Your Excellencies, Ambassador, Madam Ambassador Burns, Ambassador Gir, dear mayors of Prespa in North Macedonia, Prespa in Republic of Greece, and Pustec in Albania, youth and ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude for the honor and opportunity to address before this important youth forum. The profession I have chosen, and which I do with pleasure, is to work with the youth themselves. I am professor in Faculty of Law in University of Tetova, and I was a Minister of Education and Science before, so I have a daily contacts and communication with youngsters, and I truly understand the youth, their sincere wishes, hopes for better tomorrow, their worries and their daily thoughts. Consequently, I have accepted the invitation to this event with pleasure. I address you as the chairman of the Committee on European Affairs of the Assembly, whose role, inter alia, is to acquire the European values to our country, to make our future brighter, nurturing the European democracy and the civil standards, above all for our youth. Esteemed as there is no parent who wishes but the best for their children, there is no politician in this country whose agendas does not include as priority to meet the needs of the youth. Why? It is a simple reply, since they are our hope and future. The youth in our country lives in a multi-ethnic society through the centuries, and today we tend to make this diversity an advantage and an added value. Nevertheless, in the whole diversity, there is a single aim and endeavor: North Macedonia to become a full-fledged member of the European Union. The Assembly of the Republic of North Macedonia adopts European laws aiming to implement the European values and standards here. It is my pleasure to remind that last year we have adopted the European law on youth participation and youth policies, supported by all MP groups. Recently, the Assembly established a club on youth affairs and policies, aiming to promote the status, the position, as well as the protection of the youth interests. The first youth club was established in 2018 and was active on international level, aiming to promote and represent the youth interests on international events, as well to gain positive experiences and practices, especially from the EU member countries. As a result of such an active cooperation with the European Parliament, the Assembly of the Republic of North Macedonia hosted the event Breaking the Note, high-level political dialogue, attended by members of parliament from 6 Western Balkan countries, as well as youth activists and youth organizations. Additionally, the regional network of the Western Balkan Parliament's youth clubs was established, aiming to connect all clubs in the context of bringing the youth agenda high on the list of priorities of the Union and Western Balkan countries. I would also like to underline the regional cooperation with the youth from the region, as well as the bilateral youth offices for cooperation, which are part and obligation from the implementation of the PRESPA agreement, and in the same time are the best manner to encourage and intensify the mutual cooperation with neighbors, with whom we have to learn to live, cooperate and progress together as countries and as region. In this context, I am pleased to comment the recent announcement for opening bilateral offices for youth cooperation between the Republic of North Macedonia and the Republic of Greece, which is certainly another extraordinary step to increase the cooperation between the youth of the two countries. Practically, this kind of product from the PRESPA agreement, which eliminates the political obstacles that burdened our relations, enabling the youth to communicate, cooperate and implement joint projects. Undoubtedly, the youth can be the tool that connects us as a region. An example thereof is Mr. Babis Papaioannou from UNESCO's Youth Club from Thessaloniki, who over a decade and a half has been professionally connected with our state and is a constant supporter and participant in the processes connected with the youth policies, the youth work, launching of the youth card and many other activities, including the position project coordinator from the Greek side. All this proves the existence of deep and strong ties, which grow into beautiful and sincere friendship through the joint efforts for progress and success of the region. I shall sum up my address with an example on the power and strength of young people who can turn the attention to themselves, seeking for their rights. I shall refer to the 16-year-old Greta Thunberg, who, aside the fact that she was prevented from voting on the European Parliament elections in 2019, she addressed the young voters saying, "At these elections, you decide on the living conditions of humanity." Her words inspired youth protests taking place each Friday, when hundreds of thousands of teenagers protested for protection of environment and climate. Hence, let us remind ourselves on our youth dreams. When we sought to join European values, changes in the society, better lives, European education, employment, exchange of information, and extend our helping hand to the youth, assisting them to make their dreams come true. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ademi. Last but not least, I would like to invite Mr. Frank Moravec, Special Envoy for Southeast Europe of the Franco-German Youth Offices.
Ministers, representatives from the state of Northern Macedonia, excellencies, representatives from the embassies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I see a lot of you. After 15 months of pandemic, living in my home office in Berlin, I'm first time back here in Northern Macedonia, and I'm very happy that my first trip took me especially to Prespa, to this wonderful place. And thank you very much to Northern Macedonia, to the government of Northern Macedonia for this invitation and to come here. I'm working for Franco-German Youth Office, and I would just share with you some ideas about this, let's say, success story of Franco-German relations. My father was a soldier in the Second World War. He was fighting in France. I'm today working very close with my French colleagues each day and with my colleagues here in the Western Balkans. And this, for sure, it's really a success story. But the Franco-German relations are not a model. You cannot just take that and bring that to other parts of the world. It has a completely different geopolitical and a different historical background also. But Franco-German relations and this success story of overcoming hate and transferring hate into a deep cooperation, and the cooperation between France and Germany is a very, very deep one. And I see the ambassador of the European Union. Let me also say that the Franco-German relations are not thinkable without the European idea. That was what our motto in the Franco-German reconciliation process, that we believe together in this wonderful European idea. And I think that this Franco-German experience is not a model, but it's a very, very strong message, and it's a very strong inspiration. And it's a concrete partnership also. The Franco-German Youth Office, who exchanged since 1963, because we were created in the frame of the Élysée Treaty, and we are called the most beautiful child of the Élysée Treaty. We exchanged around 9.5 million young people between France and Germany. This is the key of the Franco-German relations. The Élysée Treaty is important for sure, it's a frame. But citizens, especially young citizens, coming together, exchanging, having the possibility to make them a picture about the neighbor, learning the language, these are the key issues. And this is what makes this relation so deep. And I'm strongly believing that this experience is not only belonging to the French and the Germans, it belongs to all Europeans, to all of them. And we should really take that as an inspiration. I would say also some words about the regional cooperation. Franco-German Youth Office had the huge honor to be a partner of the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, this new institution which is built up from the 6 members in the region, which has a governing board constituted with ministers and young people. What is unique, we don't have that in Franco-German Youth Office. It's really avant-garde. And we are very, very proud to be partner of RICO. And I really would take this opportunity and use the opportunity to ask you to support this young institution, because it's still young. It's still, they are celebrating 5 years now, soon. It's still a young one, and it's an opportunity to bring together young people in the region over the borders and to develop understanding. And I would like to mention one keyword, which is also, was also and is also important in the Franco-German work, and this is reciprocity. Whatever we do in the Franco-German Youth Office, it's reciprocal. That means, what does it mean? It means learning from each other. And we, as Franco-German Youth Office, we are learning from RICO, and we are learning also from this region. We published 2 years ago a book, it's called Lessons Learned from the Western Balkans. And believe me, there are a lot of lessons we learned for our work, for our Franco-German work from the Western Balkans, from our colleagues there. And I can tell you that I was saying in the beginning that I was 15 months now in my home office. What I really missed the most were the discussions with my colleagues, the exchange about pedagogical approaches and so on. So reciprocity is a very, very important point. Second point, to exchange youth in the region is important, yes, but please do not make the same mistakes as Franco-German Youth Office was doing in the very beginning, because in the first 15 years we exchanged a lot of people between France and Germany, but without any pedagogical idea. And youth exchange needs quality, needs pedagogical quality. So this is so important, not just to exchange, but to take care about the quality of exchange also. And the third point I would like to mention is also that we need to give young people more often and more consequently the voice. We have to hear their voice. We established together with the RICO, together with the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, a group which is called One Way Ticket No More. It's about, you were speaking about that, it's about migration and about what is called brain drain. And these young people, they work together during 6 months, each week online, and they were discussing, debating, and developing ideas how to make the region more attractive. And I just would like to use the opportunity here to give you some results of these ideas. So, reform the educational system. In Greece, regional mobility schemes, regional mobility and cooperation and reciprocal recognition of professional qualifications. Make the Western Balkan greener. Bring down the pollutions in general, but in particular from the coal plants. Bring Western Balkans to a digital age. I also could say that for Germany, I'm sorry to say that. Investment in a digital transformation also to achieve higher growth and greater levels of employment. Establish a regional network of civic educational centers. Citizens of Western Balkans should have time and space to debate the democratic future of their societies, and especially young people should have this. Civic education strengthens political commitment, and the assumption of political tasks offers orientation and information. Finalize the connectivity agenda. And last but not least, continue to include especially young people in the political debates and decisions. The voice of young people, their competence and their ideas are urgently needed, not only here, but for all of us in Europe. And this also concerns the participation of the young people in the Western Balkans in the Conference of the Future of Europe. I think this is very, very urgent that we have this wonderful Conference of the Future of Europe, so let's also hear the voice of the young people here in the region. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Moravec. I would like to have your attention about 5 more minutes. I hope that we will all handle, because it's quite hot now. So, before I invite my colleague on the stage, I would like just to share one technical information and to kindly invite you, also you ministers and ambassadors, to have a group photo in front of the hotel together with the young people after we finish with the official opening. And now I would like to invite my colleague and dear friend from Bulgaria, Mr. Ivailo Tsonev, project coordinator for Bulgaria and North Macedonia from Friedrich Neumann Foundation for Freedom, to wrap up the session since he is the reporter of this official opening. Thank you for being here, and I'm wishing you a productive youth forum to all.
So, dear Excellencies, dear Ministers, dear youth workers and youth enthusiasts, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this great panel. It was a distinguished panel with a lot of key takeaways. And of course, I will report also in written later on in more details about the event, but it was a great panel with great takeaways, just framing that basically, there are a lot of challenges nowadays. It is time of challenges, that it was literally said, but also it's time of opportunities. And these opportunities cannot be grasped or harnessed on its own. We all need to be united. We all need to work together. And also we need to connect. We need to jointly connect and build our future. And also, coming from the prism that the future belongs to the youth, no plan or policy could be realized, could be produced successfully and sustainably without the involvement of youth, and without the involvement of youth in this process from the end to the end. With this, the youth, with their critical thinking, with their optimism, with their engagement, are the most valuable resource of North Macedonia and every country in the region. And this has been well recognized by the government of North Macedonia, which prompts for further and stronger engagement with youth, on stronger cooperation with youth. And in this respect, the youth work has been well recognized, as well as the need for strengthening the bilateral and regional cooperations exactly through the input of the youth in this process. Regional overarching issue that directly reflects to the young people in the entire region is, of course, the youth unemployment, and the related to it youth immigration and brain drain, which cannot in any way be, of course, successfully managed without the active inclusion of youth. But of course, there are many other opportunities and opportunity areas for the future where also the youth input is to be highly appreciated and highly valued. And these are, of course, the Green Deal, the connectivity, and also the digital agenda, which are all European policies which would bring the country, North Macedonia, but also the entire region closer together and closer to the common joint Europe and European future, and future of stability and prosperity. The voice of young people needs to be heard. And this is also the general call coming from Europe today, also within the prism of the Future of Europe conference, which is ongoing, which is a sphere of debates. And it is admirable that such conference and such an initiative is being taken up on European level. And these processes will, in no doubt, have, of course, their impact also in the region and positively on the country of North Macedonia. Thank you very much for your attention, and congratulations for the great panel and to the organizers.